Abraham called all his sons and commanded them to observe the way of Yahweh. Jubilees, chapter 20. And in the 42nd Jubilee, in the first year of the 7th week, Abraham called Ishmael, 2052 a.m., and his wife sons, and Yitzhak and his sons, 2 sons, and the 6 sons of Keturah, and all their sons. And he commanded them that they should observe the way of Yahweh, that they should work righteousness, and love each of his neighbor, and act on this manner amongst all men, that they should each so walk with regard to them as to do just judgment and righteousness on the earth, that they should circumcise their sons according to the covenant which he had made with them, and not deviate to the right hand or to the left of all the paths which Yahweh had commanded us, and that we should keep ourselves from all fornication and uncleanness, and renounced from amongst us all fornication and uncleanness. And if any woman or maid committed fornication amongst you, burn her with fire, and let them not commit fornication with her after their eyes and their hearts. And let them not take to themselves wives from the daughters of Canaan, for the seed of Canaan will be rooted out of the land. And he told them of the judgment of the Nephilim, the giants, and the judgment of the Sodomites, and how they had been judged on account of their wickedness, and had died on account of their fornication and uncleanness, and mutual corruption through fornication. And guard yourselves from all fornication and cleanness, and from all pollution of sin, lest you make our name a curse, and your whole life a hissing, and all your sons to be destroyed by the sword, and you become accursed like Sodom, and all your remnant as the sons of Gomorrah. I implore you, my sons, love Yahweh of heaven, and cleave you to all his commandments, and walk not after their idols, and after their uncleanness, and make not for yourself molten or graven deities or gods, for they are vanity, and there is no spirit in them, for they are work of men's hands, and all who trust in them trust in nothingness. Serve not them, nor worship them, but serve you, the Most High, Yahweh Tezavot, and worship him continually, and hope for his countenance always, and work uprightness and righteousness before him, that he may have pleasure in you, and grant you his mercy, and send rain upon the morning and the evening, Yara, and bless all your works which you have wrought upon the earth, and bless your bread and your water, and bless the fruit of your womb, and the fruit of your land, and the herds of your cattle, and the flocks of your sheep. And you will be a blessing on the earth, and all nations of the earth will desire you, and bless your sons in my name, that they may be blessed as I am. And he gave to Ishmael and to his sons and to the sons of Keturah Jubilees 21. And in the 6th year of the 7th week of this Jubilee, Avram called Yitzhak his son in 20:57 a.m. and commanded him, saying, I am becoming old, and I know not the day of my death, and I am full of my days. And behold, I am 175 years old, and throughout all my days of my life I have remembered Yahweh, and sought with all my heart to do his will, and to walk uprightly in all his ways. My soul has hated idols, and I have given my heart and my spirit, that I might observe to do the will of him who created me. For he is the living Yahweh, and he is Kodesh and faithful, and he is righteous beyond all. And there is with him no accepting of men's persons, and no accepting of gifts, for Yahweh is righteous, Zadok, and executes judgment on those who transgress his commandments, and despises his covenants. And do you, my son, observe the commandments and his ordinances and his judgment, and walk not after the abominations, and after the graven images, and after the molten images, and eat no blood at all of the animals or cattle, or of any bird which flies in the heaven. And if you do slay a victim as an acceptable shalom, slay you it, and pour out its blood upon the altar, and all the fat of the offering offer on the altar with fine flour, and the meat offering mingled with oil, with its drink offering. Offer them all together on the altar of burnt offering, as a sweet savor before Yahweh. And you will offer the fat of the sacrifice of thank offering on the fire which is upon the altar, and the fat which is on the belly, and all the fat on the inward, and the 2 kidneys, and all the fat that is upon them, and upon the loins and the liver you shall remove together with the kidneys. And offer all these for a sweet savor acceptable before Yahweh, with its meat offering, and with its drink offering, for a sweet savor, the bread of the offering unto Yahweh. And eat its meat on that day, and on the sacrifice on the 2nd day. And eat its meat on that day and on the 2nd day. And let not the sun on the 2nd day go down upon it till it is all eaten. And let nothing be left over for the 3rd day, for it is not acceptable, for it is not approved, and let it no longer be eaten. And all who eat thereof will bring sin upon themselves. For thus I have found it written in the books of my forefathers, and in the words of Hanok, and in the words of Noah, and on all your obligations. You shall strew salt, and let not the salt of the covenant be lacking in all your oblations before Yahweh. And as regard the wood of the sacrifice, beware lest you bring other wood for the altar in addition to these, Jubilees 22. Yitzhak and Ishmael come to celebrate the Feast of Weeks before Abraham's death. And it came to pass, in the first week, in the 44th Jubilee, in this second year, that is, the year in which Abraham died, that Yitzhak and Ishmael came from the well of the oath to celebrate the Feast of Weeks. That is the feast of the first fruits of the harvest to Abraham, their father. And Abraham rejoiced because his 2 sons had come. For Yitzhak had many possessions in Beersheba, and Yitzhak was want to go and see his possessions and to return to his father. And in those days Ishmael came to see his father, and they both came together. And Yitzhak offered a sacrifice for a burnt offering, and presented it on the altar of his father, which he had made in Hebron. And he offered a thank offering and made a feast of joy before Ishmael his brother. And Rebekah made new cakes from the new grain, and gave them to Jacob her son, to take them to Abraham his father from the first fruits of the land, that he might eat and bless the Creator of all things before he died. And Yitzhak too sent by the hand of Jacob to Abraham a best thank offering, that he might eat and drink. And he ate and drank, and blessed the Most High, Yahweh, who created heaven and earth, who has made all the fat things of the earth, and given them to the children of men, that they might eat and drink and bless their Creator. And now I give thanks unto you, my sovereign ruler, because you have caused me to see this day. Behold, I am 175 years, an old man of full days, and all my days have been unto me shalom. The sword of the adversary has not overcome me in all that you have given me and my children all the days of my life until this day. O my sovereign ruler, may your mercy and your shalom be upon your servant and upon the seed of his sons, that they might be to you a chosen nation and an inheritance from among all the nations of the earth, from henceforth unto all the days of the generations of the earth, unto all the ages. Leolam vaed. And he called Jacob and said, my son Jacob, may Yahweh, the sovereign ruler of all, bless you and strengthen you to do righteousness and his will before him. And may he choose you and your seed, that you may become a people for his inheritance according to his will always. And do you, my son Jacob, draw near and kiss me? And he drew near and kissed him. And he said, blessed be my son Jacob, and all the sons of Yahweh Most High, unto all the ages. May Yahweh give unto you a seed of righteousness, and some of your sons may he sanctify in the midst of the whole earth. May nations serve you, and all the The death of Abraham. Jubilees 23. And he placed 2 fingers of Jacob on his eyes, and he blessed the Almighty of Tezavot, and he covered his face and stretched his feet and slept the sleep of eternity, and was gathered to his fathers. And notwithstanding all this, Jacob was lying in his bosom, and knew not that Abraham his father was dead. And Jacob woke up from his sleep, and beheld, Abraham was cold as ice. And he said, Father, Father. But there was none that spoke, and he knew that he was dead. And he arose from his bosom, and ran and told Rebekah his mother. And Rebekah went to Yitzhak in the night, and told him, and they went together. And Jacob with them, and a lamp was in his hand. And when they had gone in, they found Abraham lying dead. And Yitzhak fell on his face, the face of his father, and wept, and kissed him. And the voices were heard in the house of Abraham, and Ishmael his son arose, and went to Abraham his father, and wept over Abraham his father. And all the house of Abraham, and they wept with a great weeping. And his son Yitzhak and Ishmael buried him in the double cave near Sarah his wife, that they wept for him 40 days, all the men of his house, and Yitzhak and Ishmael, and all their sons, and all the sons of Keturah in their places. And the days of weeping for Abraham were ended. And he lived 3 jubilees and 4 weeks of years, 175 years old, and completed the days of his life, being old and full of days. For the days of his forefathers of their life were 19 jubilees, and after the flood they began to grow less than 19 jubilees, and to the decrease in jubilees, and to grow old quickly, and to be old of their days by reason of manifold tribulation and the wickedness of their ways, with the exception of Abraham. For Abraham was perfect in all his deeds with Yahweh, and well-pleasing in righteousness all the days of his life. And behold, he did not complete 4 jubilees in his life, when he had grown old by reason of the wickedness, and was full of his days. And all the generations which shall arise from this time until the day of the great judgment shall grow old quickly, before they complete 2 jubilees. And their knowledge shall forsake them by reason of their old age, and all their knowledge shall vanish away. And in those days, if a man lives a jubilee and a half of years, they shall regard him, he has lived long, and the greater part of his days are pain and sorrow and tribulation, and there was no shalom. For calamity follows on calamity, and wounds on wounds, and tribulation on tribulation, and evil tidings on evil tidings, cursings on cursings, and illness on illness, and all evil judgments such as these, one with another, illness and overthrow, and snow and frost and ice, and fever and chills, and torpor and famine and death, and sword and captivity, and all kinds of calamities and pains. The blessing of Yahweh upon Yitzhak. Jubilees 24. And it came to pass, after the death of Abraham, that Yahweh blessed Yitzhak his son, and he arose from Hebron, and went and dwelt at the well of the vision in the first year of the first week in Hebron, 2073 a.m. Of this Jubilee 7 years. And in the first year of the fourth week, a famine began in the land, 2080 a.m., besides the first famine, which had been in the days of Abraham. And Jacob sowed lentil pottage, and Esau came from the field hungry. And he said to Jacob his brother, Give me of this red pottage. And Jacob said to him, Sell me your birthright, and I will give you bread and also some of this lentil pottage. And Esau said in his heart, I shall die. Of what profit me is my birthright? And he said to Jacob, I give it to you. And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him. And Jacob gave his brother Esau bread and pottage, and he ate till he was satisfied, and Esau despised his birthright anyway. For this reason was Esau's name called Edom, on account of the red pottage which Jacob gave him for the birthright. And Jacob became the elder, and Esau was brought down from his dignity. And famine was over the land, and Yitzhak departed to go down into Egypt in the second year of this week, and went to the king of the Philistines to Gerar, unto Abimelech. And Yahweh appeared unto him, and said to him, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land that I shall tell you, and sojourn in the land, and I will be with you, and bless you. For to you and to your seed I will give all this land. I will establish my oath, my covenant, which I swore unto Abraham your father. And I will multiply your seed as the stars of the heaven, and will give unto your seed all this land. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because your father obeyed my voice, and kept my charge and my commandments, and my laws and my ordinances and my covenants, and now obey my voice, and dwell in this land. And he dwelt in Gerar 3 weeks of years. And Abimelech charged concerning him around 2080 and 2101 a.m. And concerning all this that was his, saying, Any man that shall touch him, or aught that is his, shall surely die. And Yitzhak waxed strong among the Philistines, and he got many possessions, oxen and sheep, and camels and asses, and a great household. And he sowed in the land of the Philistines, and brought in 100-fold. And Yitzhak became exceedingly great, and the Philistines envied him. Now all the wells which the servants of Abraham had dug during the life of Abraham, the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said to Yitzhak, Go from us, for you are much mightier than we. And Yitzhak departed there in the first year of the 7th week, and sojourned in the valley of Gerar. And they digged again the wells of water Jubilees 25. And in the 2nd year of the week, in this Jubilee, Rebekah called Jacob her son, and spoke to him. 2109 a.m. And she said, My son, take not a wife of the daughters of Canaan, as Esau your brother, who took him 2 wives of the daughters of Canaan. And they have embittered my soul with all their unclean deeds. For all their deeds are fornication and lust. And there is no righteousness with them, for their deeds are evil. And I, my son, love you exceedingly, and my heart and my affliction bless you every hour of the day and watch of the night. And now, my son, hearken to my voice, and do the will of your mother, and do not take a wife of the daughters of this land, but only of the house of my father, and of my father's kindred. You shall take a wife of the house of my father, for the Most High, Yahweh, will bless you, and your children shall be a righteous generation and a Kodesh seed. And then spoke Jacob to Rebekah, his mother, and said to her, Behold, mother, I am 9 weeks of years old, and I neither know nor have I touched any woman, nor have I betrothed myself to any, nor even think of taking me a wife of the daughters of Canaan. For I remember, mother, the words of Abraham, our father, for he commanded me not to take a wife of the daughters of Canaan, but to take me a wife from the seed of my father's house and from my kindred. And I have heard before that daughters have been born to Laban, your brother, and I have set my heart on them to take a wife from amongst them. And for this reason I have guarded myself in my spirit against sinning, or being corrupted in all my ways throughout all my days of my life. For with regard to lust and fornication, Abraham my father gave me many commands. And despite all that he had commanded me, these 22 years my brother has striven with me, and spoken frequently to me, and said, My brother, take a wife, a sister of my 2 wives. But I refuse to do as he has done. I swear before you, mother, that all the days of my life I will not take me a wife from the daughters of the seed of Canaan, and I will not act wickedly as my brother has done. Fear not, mother. Be assured that I shall do your will and walk in uprightness, and will not corrupt any of my ways forever. And thereupon she lifted up her face to heaven, and extended the fingers of her hands, and opened her mouth, and blessed the Most High Yahweh, who had created the heavens and the earth. And she gave him thanks and praise. And she said, Baruch atah Yahweh Elohim. Blessed are you, Yahweh Tezavot, the Almighty. And may his Kodesh name, Kodesh seed, for he is yours, and yours shall his seed be continually, and throughout all generations forevermore. Bless him, O Yahweh, and place in my mouth the blessing of righteousness, that I may bless him. And at that hour, when the Spirit, the Ruach of righteousness, descended into her mouth, she placed both her hands on the head of Jacob and said, Jubilees 26. Yitzhak called Esau, his elder son, to make savory meat. And in the 7th year of this week, Yitzhak called Esau, his elder son, and said to him, I am old. This was in the year 2114 a.m. My son, and behold, my eyes are dim in seeing, and know not the day of my death. And now, take your hunting weapons and your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field, and hunt and catch me venison, my son, and make me a savory meat such as my soul loves, and bring it to me that I may eat, and that my soul may bless you before I die. But Rebekah heard Yitzhak speaking to Esau, and Esau went forth early to the field to hunt and catch and bring home to his father. And Rebekah called Jacob, her son, and said to him, Behold, I heard Yitzhak your father speak unto Esau your brother, saying, Hunt for me, and make me a savory meat, and bring it to me, that I may eat and bless you before Yahweh, before I die. And now, my son, obey my voice in which I command you. Now go to your flock and fetch me 2 good kids of goats, and I will make them savory meat for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat and bless you before Yahweh, before he die, and that you may be blessed. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Mother, I shall not withhold anything which my father would eat, and which would please him. Only I fear, my mother, that he will recognize my voice and wish to touch me. And you know that I am smooth, and Esau, my brother, is hairy. And I shall appear as before his eyes as an evildoer, and shall do a deed which he has not commanded me, and he will be wroth with me, and I shall bring upon myself a curse and not a blessing. And Rebekah his mother said unto him, Upon me be your curse, my son, only obey my voice. And Jacob obeyed the voice of Rebekah his mother, and went and fetched 2 good and fat kids of the goats, and brought them to his mother. And his mother made them savory meat, such as he loved. And Rebekah took the goodly raiment of Esau, her eldest son, and which was with her in the house. She clothed Jacob, her younger son, with them, and she put the skins of the kids upon his hands, and he on the exposed parts of his neck. And she gave the meat and the bread which she had prepared unto the hand of her son Jacob. And Jacob went to his father and said, I am your son. I have done according as you bade me. Arise and sit and eat of that which I have caught, father, that your soul may bless me. And Yitzhak said to his son, How have you found so quickly, my son? And Jacob said, Because Yahweh, the sovereign ruler, caused me to find. And Yitzhak said to him, Come near, and that I may feel you, my son, if you are my son Esau or not. And Jacob went near to Yitzhak, his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because it was a dispensation from the heaven to remove his power of perception to see. And Yitzhak discerned Jubilees 27. Jacob is sent to Laban. And the words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah in a dream. And Rebekah sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said to him, Behold, Esau your brother will take vengeance on you, so as to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, and flee you to Laban, my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days until your brother's anger turns away, and he removes his anger from you, and forget all that you have done. And then I will send and fetch you from there. And Jacob said, I am not afraid. If he wishes to kill me, I will kill him. But she said unto him, Let me not be a bereft of both of my sons on one day. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, you know that my father has become old, and does not see because his eyes are dull. And if I leave him, it will be evil in his eyes, because I leave him and go away from you. And my father will be angry, and will curse me. I will not go. When he sends me, then only will I go. And Rebekah said to Jacob, I will go in and speak to him, and he will send you away. And Rebekah went in and said to Yitzhak, I loathe my life because of my 2 daughters of Heth, whom Esau has taken him as wives. And if Jacob take a wife from among the daughters of the land such as these, for what purpose do I further live? For the daughters of Canaan are evil. And Yitzhak called Jacob, and blessed him, and admonished him, and said to him, Do not take a wife of any of the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Mesopotamia, to the house of Bethuel in Ur, of your mother's family, and take you a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And Yahweh Tezavot, the Almighty, bless you and increase you, and multiply you, that you may become a great company of nations, and give you the blessing of my father Abraham, to you and to your seed after you, that you may inherit the land of your sojourning, and all of the land which Yahweh gave to Abraham. Go, my son, in shalom. And Yitzhak sent Jacob away, and he went to Mesopotamia, to Laban, to the son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's mother. And it came to pass, after Jacob had risen to go to Mesopotamia, that the spirit of Rebekah was grieved after her son, and she wept. And Yitzhak said to Rebekah, My sister, weep not on account of Jacob, my son, for he goes in shalom, and in shalom he will return. The Most High Yahweh will preserve him from all evil, and will be with him, and he will not forsake him all of his days. For I know that his ways will be prospered in all things, wherever he goes, until he returns to us in shalom, and we see him in shalom. Fear not on his account, my sister, for he is on Jubilees 28. And he went on his journey, and came to the land of the east, to Laban, the brother of Rebekah, and he was with him, and served him for Rachel, his daughter, 1 week. And in the first week of the 30 week, 2122 a.m., he said to him, give me my wife, for whom I have served you 7 years. And Laban said to Jacob, I will give you your wife. And Laban made a feast, and took Leah, his elder daughter, and gave her to Jacob as a wife, and gave her Zilpah, his handmaid, as a handmaid. And Jacob did not know, for he thought that she was Rachel. And he went unto her, and behold, she was Leah. And Jacob was angry with Laban, and said to him, why have you dealt this way with me? Did not I serve you for Rachel, and not for Leah? Why have you wronged me? Take your daughter, and I will go, for you have done evil to me. For Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, for Leah's eyes were weak, but her form was very handsome. But Rachel had beautiful eyes, and a beautiful and very handsome form. And Laban said to Jacob, it is not so done in our country, to give the elder or the younger before the elder. And it is not right to do this, for thus it is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets that no one should give his younger daughter before the elder. But the elder one gives first, and after her the younger. And the man who dares so, they set down guilt against him in heaven. And none is righteous that does this thing, for this deed is evil before Yahweh. And commanded you, the children of Israel, that they do not this thing. Let them take neither nor give the younger before they had given the elder, for it is very wicked. And Laban said to Jacob, let the 7 days of the feast of this one pass by, and I shall give you Rachel, and that you may serve me another 7 years, that you may pasture my sheep, as you didst in the former week. And on the day when the 7 days of the feast of Leah had passed, Laban gave Rachel to Jacob, that he might serve him another 7 years. And he gave Rachel to and Bilhah, the sister of Zilpah, as a handmaid. And he served yet another 7 years for Rachel, for Leah had been given him to him for nothing. And Yahweh opened the womb of Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob a son, and he called his name Reuben. On the 14th day of the 9th month, in the first year of the 3rd week, 2122 a.m. But the womb of Rachel was closed, for Yahweh saw that Leah was hated and Rachel loved. And again Jacob went unto Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a second son, and he called his name Simeon. On the 21st of the 10th month, and in the 3rd year of the week, 2124 a.m. And again Jacob went in unto Jubilees 29. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Laban went to shear his sheep, for they were distant from him a 3 days' journey. And Jacob saw that Laban was going to shear his sheep, and Jacob called Leah and Rachel, and spoke kindly unto them that they should come with him to the land of Canaan. For he told them how he had seen everything in a dream, even all of that he had spoken unto him, that he should return to his father's house, that they said, to every place where you go, we will go with you. And Jacob blessed Yahweh Tezavot of Yitzhak his father, and the Almighty of Abraham his father's father. And he arose and mounted his wives and his children, and took all of his possessions, and crossed the river, and came to the land of Gilead. And Jacob hid his intentions from Laban, and told him not. And in the 7th year of the 4th week, Jacob turned his face towards Gilead in the 1st month, on the 21st thereof, 2135 a.m. And Laban pursued after him, and overtook Jacob in the mountain of Gilead, in the 3rd month of the 13th year thereof. And Yahweh did not suffer him to injure Jacob, for he appeared to him in a dream by night. And Laban spoke to Jacob, and on the 15th of those days Jacob made a feast for Laban, and for all who came with him. And Jacob swore to Laban that day, and Laban also to Jacob, that neither should cross the mountain of Gilead to the other with evil purpose. And he made there a heap for a witness. Therefore the name of that place is called the heap of witness, after this heap. But before they used to call the land of Gilead the land of the Rephaim, for it was the land of the Rephaim. And the Rephaim were born there giants. Those heights was 10, 9, 8, down to 7 cubits. And their habitation was from the land of the children of Ammon to Mount Hermon, and the seats of their kingdom were Carneam and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, and Misur, and Beon. And Yahweh destroyed them because of the evil of their deeds, for they were very malignant. And the Amorites dwelled in their stead, wicked and sinful. And there was no people today which has wrought to the full of all their sons, and they have no longer length of life on the earth. And Jacob sent away Laban, and he departed into Mesopotamia, and the land of the east, and Jacob returned to the land of Gilead. And he passed over the Jabbok in the 9th month, on the 11th thereof. And on that day Esau his brother came to him, and he was reconciled to him, and departed from him from the land of Seir. But Jacob dwelt in tents. And in the 1st year of the 5th week in this Jubilee, 2136 a.m.